Oh, you'll see when you get there. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Yahweh give them more information about what you're doing than you. That's why I said, who is this blind as my servant? Because those who are going to do what they are supposed to do, what they are instructed to do, those are the ones that ain't asking you 19 questions every time. So well, why I got to do that? See, them the kids who always get slapped in their mouth. Take out the trash. Why I got to pow? Oh, man. Ask me again. Ask me again about the trash.
The word of Elohim.
So
that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
By
faith, Abel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Elohim testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaks.
Right. So Elohim testifying of his gifts. So let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 8.
Second Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 1. Moreover, brethren, we do you to wit of the grace of Elohim bestowed on the churches of Macedonia, how that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded unto the riches of their liberality.
That you can't. Jamaicans can't say that word. They can't. That word is anti-Jamaican. It's fight Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's anti-mango and coconut about that word right there. I seen you were gonna have a problem with it when I looked at it. I was like, Jamaican can't say that. Go ahead, bro.
For to their power I bear record, yea, and beyond their power they were willing of themselves, praying us with much entreaty that we would receive the gift and take upon us the fellowship of the ministering to the saints. And this they did, not as we hoped, but first gave their own selves to the Adonai and unto us by the will of Elohim, insomuch that he desired Titus, that as he had begun, so he would also finish in you the same grace also.
So understand, as they're taking this gospel unto other places, you have Euro-Gentiles who were not born into this faith. This is something that they are taking on, and they are taking it on with great zeal. Go ahead.
Therefore, as you abound in everything, in faith and utterance and knowledge, and in all diligence, and in your love to us, see that you abound in this grace also. I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love. For you know the grace of our Elohim, Yahshua the Mashiach, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor.
Right, because he has everything of the Father's accessible unto him. Now you got to be careful, because Creflo said this is where he built subdivisions. You see that Jesus was rich. That's why that's why I need a $63 million plane, because Jesus was rich. Didn't you see that? They allowed to take a piece of a line and tell you a whole other story, because in other places we can read, he says, what? The Son of Man have not where to lay his head. You gonna follow me? I don't even have a place to sleep. They said, no. He was rich because anything he wanted from the Father, he could have. Consider, Moshe could have stayed in Pharaoh's place and lived rich as possible. Yet he would rather suffer with his own people. They had the best stuff available in Pharaoh's house. Y'all talking about fans? They had man fans. Yeah, a real live man just doing this, just fanning. You still all right? Okay, well, I'll do it faster then. He could have been in that place. Yet, he chose to suffer with his own people. So it's something when you have access or ability to do something and then deny it. That is a greater sacrifice. That is a much bigger sacrifice. People who are already living in the hood can't be talking about, I'm making this sacrifice. No, you ain't. That's all you can afford. That's not a sacrifice. That's exactly where your money says you can live. That is not a sacrifice. Okay? Now, when you can afford to live in the hills, and then you come down to the project, then you can come and talk to us. Hey, look, I'm sacrificing to be here. All right, well, we'll take that. Go ahead.
That you through his poverty might be rich.
Uh-huh.
Verse 10. And herein I give my advice, for this is expedient for you, who have begun before, not only to do, but also to be forward a year ago. Now therefore perform the doing of it, that as there was a readiness to will, so there may be a performance also out of that which you have. For if there be first a willing mind, it is accepted according to that a man has, and not according to that he has not.
Right. For if there be first a willing mind, this is the first part of an acceptable offering. A willing mind. Go ahead.
For I mean not that other men be eased and you be burdened, but by an equality, that now at this time your abundance may be a supply for their want.
Your abundance may be a supply. When it says want, it's saying lack. Your abundance may be a supply for their lack. Because what you have in natural things, they have in spiritual things. So then we're going to have a trade-off then. See, you come and partake of their spiritual things, and then they come and partake of your natural things. Now we got equality in giving. See, it may look like the poor man don't have nothing to bring to the table, but he brings something to the table in a different way. Everybody bring what they can bring to the table. That's equality. Not that everybody gives the same amount, that they give the same amount of effort. Go ahead.
That their abundance also may be a supply for your want. That there may be equality.
Right, and sometimes it's hard to explain to somebody that they have lack when they got money. See, because they don't see they lack. They like, wait a minute, you see this clothes here? You see these fine clothes? What do I lack? Remember, there was a rich dude that said, what lack I yet? Remember that? Right, and he should have stopped talking? Right. It's hard to explain lack to people who have stuff. That's why you have to be careful. See, there's an equality that goes on if there is an equal effort. Did you finish that?
Verse 15. As it is written, he that had gathered much had nothing over, and he that had gathered little had no lack.
So you see how Yahweh, and if you understand where it says, as it is written, he's going all the way back to the beginning to show how there was equality no matter what they did. So one is gathering all of this manna. At the end, he still had the same amount, everybody else. This one didn't pick up but a little bit of manna. He was still full. Let's go to Mark chapter 12. Mark chapter 12, and let's read verses 42 through 44.
And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto him his disciples, and says unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow has cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living.
Right. Verily I say unto you that this poor widow has cast in more than all they which cast into the treasury, because of the level or the ratio versed upon what she had versus what she gave. And this is that thing that we have to understand. Let's go to Exodus chapter 25. Exodus chapter 25, and we're going to read verses 1 through 9. We're just going to read a couple more things for tonight.
Exodus chapter 25 and verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring me an offering. Of every man that gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering.
Of every man that gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. So, right off the rip, then that's letting Moshe and all these people know, hey, we shouldn't have to go and ask for that. If they have it willingly in their heart, then they see the lack that Yahweh has, his building needs, the things of that nature. So it's one of those things. Let it be willingly. The people have to do those things to build Yahweh's house. Go ahead.
And this is the offering which you shall take of them. Gold and silver and brass.
And stop. Wait a minute. This is the most valuable stuff around. This is the offering which you shall take of them. Gold and silver and brass. All of this is used to build Yahweh's house. So when we talk about this fine temple and things that we want to have, how do y'all think we had it? But that means that everybody does what they are able to do. There are some that all they had to offer was work. But then that work combined with substance built the house of Yahweh. So then you have to ask, what is the position of the person that does nothing? They ain't going to give nothing and they ain't going to work. That means they come to consume. And they come to consume over and over and over. And consume from everybody. Go ahead.
And blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair. And ram skins dyed red and badger skins and shittim wood. Oil for the light, spices for anointing oil and for sweet incense. Onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them.
Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. See, this is in their best interest to do these things that I may be among them. Go ahead.
You know, it's like you're talking about just the works. Hey, if all you can do is dye some ram skins, hey, I'll dye them for you.
Exactly. People understanding what it is that need to be done. I'll do that part. I'll do this over here. Oh, I can't do that, but I can do this. Let me get something in Yahweh's house. He gonna dwell among us from this place. Let me have something in there. If you can't say nothing, but you know what? I hung that picture right there. Yep, sure did. Yep, you see how straight it is? Look at that. Yep, I did that. Go ahead, brother.
According to all that I show you, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verses 23 and 24.
Verse 23. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remembers that your brother has aught against you, leave there your gift before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift.
So, therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, we have to understand as we get ready to partake in Passover, we are coming unto the altar of our Elohim, and then we remember that our brother or sister has something against you. Now, you understand that because you know the situation that is taking place. Now, some of us have blind vision where we can only see what has been done to us, but we cannot see what we have done to anybody else. Them kind of people ain't never gonna pause at Yahweh's altar. Them kind of people ain't never gonna, because they ain't never gonna remember that, you know, their brother would have aught against them. Because they can't see anything that they've done. They only see that one portion of it. So matter of fact, their brother or sister might seem like they just irrational. They're like, there's something wrong with these people. Why they keep tripping? Why they act like that? Because they don't see anything that they've done. They just see what has happened to them. So that's going to present an issue when it comes down to a little reflection there at the altar. So right at the point of the altar should be a little mirror where you got to look at that person who comes, and right before you offer your gift, look at that person. I mean, really look at that person. Because see, there's something there. There's a reason why it says, leave your gift. Don't give it yet. Go back, fix that issue, then come and offer your gift. Why? Because now the sacrifice is blemished. You blemished it. It was a good sacrifice. The blemish didn't come from the sacrifice. The blemish came from whatever you got in there. That's what blemished it. So coming up to the altar is good. Bringing the gift is good. But then he says, pause. Just leave it there. Because it's going to be a much better offering when you come back. Now, you can't make anybody accept you. Don't think that this means that everything has to be all fine and dandy with every position before anything is accepted of Yahweh from you. No. All you got to do is do your part. They can stay wherever they want to stay. If they want to stay in mad land, if they want to stay in wherever land, if they want to stay in unrepentance land, if they want to stay in whatever land that is, where they just imagine that nothing happened, they can stay there. Okay? That ain't got nothing to do with you. You can't make nobody go nowhere. All you got to do is take care of your part. That's it. Now you got a perfect sacrifice. I took care of my part. The old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Because if he want to be stubborn, guess what? He 1,000 times stronger than you. You ain't going to grab his little horse head and make him drink no water. You going to grab that horse head and sit your whole body on it. I'm going to sit right here and foam until I die. That foam start coming out of his mouth. He ain't going to drink no water. He's going to sit right there and die. Ain't nothing you going to do? You're not strong enough to make him drink. All you can do is show him where the water at. And guess what? You done your job. You've given them the opportunity of repentance. You've given them an opportunity for all of these things. If they don't take it, that's their business. That don't belong to you. That ain't on your shoulders. It's on your shoulders if you don't do your part. But let us hit a conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Matthew chapter 27. Matthew chapter 27, and let's read verses 1 through 10.
When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Yahshua to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away, and delivered him to Pontius Pilate the governor. Then Yehudas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders.
Right. So then you look at this whole thing of betrayal here. Yahshua knew that the betrayer was amongst them. He didn't throw the betrayer out. He gave him all the opportunity he needed to go ahead and perform his act of betrayal. He gave him more of an opportunity to go ahead and perform this act of betrayal. Go ahead.
Saying, I have sinned that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, what is that to us? See you to that.
Right. The same priests, the same group of individuals who wanted him to perform the deceitful act is the very ones who don't want to have nothing to do with the money that came from the deceitful act. Go ahead.
And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself.
Right. So now the very one who has performed this betrayal, and this is one of those things that we have to really consider. How is it that from the beginning, Yahshua said, there's one amongst us who's not us? And this is that thing that we have to pay attention to. Yahshua giving him an opportunity meant that at any time he could have backed up and repented. Then that evil deed would have to been done by somebody else. But he left them amongst them. He said, there's one with us that betrayed me, that is going to betray me. We're going to eat together. See, that means that there was work being done amongst these disciples, but most of them were working for Yahshua and the gospel, but Yehudis was working for himself. Pay attention. Sometimes there are those among you that they working for themselves while you working for Yahweh. All Judas' works was about him. Even when he started talking, oh, this great waste of money. Why would anybody just waste this ointment like that? This ointment could be packaged and sold and the alms given to the poor. It was a long scheme, but what happened was he controlled the money. So let's sell this ointment. Let me hold the money. And then the poor gonna get something somewhere. Right. After he get through digging through it. See? So in the whole time, he was working for himself. He wasn't working for Yahweh. He wasn't working for Yahshua. He was working for him. Go ahead.
You know, he gave ample opportunities for every one of them to check themselves. Because he said, did not choose you 12 and one of you is a devil?
Right.
One of y'all shall betray me. Who? One who dips in the bowl with me. He kept giving them all opportunity to check and examine themselves.
But you see the beauty in that, though? And one of you shall betray me. See, had he said which one, you know, everybody would have just jumped on that one. So it was an opportunity for self-check among even the ones who were in good standing. So our common belief is that because we're in good standing, that we don't need self-check. Contraire, my friend. Self-check is always necessary. You don't want to wait until you're in bad standing to do self-check. Every now and then, you need to do self-check. Just pause. What you doing? Hold on, give me a second. Checking myself on something. Okay, yeah, let's go. So why do you do that occasionally? Don't you know them fine chariots we riding? What do you think that check engine light and all that? How you think the check engine light come on? There's a diagnosis that happens. It don't wait till something wrong. You just saw something wrong and you think that it just started checking. It was always checking. It's in a constant source of checking. Once it fails a certain amount of tests, bing, the light goes on. That don't mean the problem just happened. This is when the problem is now being acknowledged. And before any problem is fixed, it has to first be acknowledged. And if you won't acknowledge the problem, it ain't never going to get fixed. Because you can look at that check engine light all you want and just say, And a lot of people do that. You got to check hard light. It come on, bing, Keep on going. Check hard light came on, bing, Then when we broke down on the side of the road, now we calling everybody. My heart done broke down. I'm on the side of the road. It's dark out here. Wait a minute. Then you have a check hard light came on? Yeah. How long ago was that? 2 months ago. Oh! So you've been walking around with the check hard light for 2 months. But as long as you were still operating, you kept on walking. You kept on operating. And some of us go with that check hard light for years. But as long as we can keep on operating, ain't nothing wrong with my heart. Ain't nothing wrong until we break down. Now here's the problem. And anybody who's ever worked on anything can tell you this. The more you operate that thing with that light on it, the more problems you're causing. So the light came on for the original problem. But as you keep going, you're making more problems along the way. I remember having a little slight wheel bearing problem on one of my cars, right? And it had a little indication here, and then you hear, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So I just turned the music up louder. Boom, 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 boom. So I would never hear, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm talking about? I wouldn't hear it. I just turned the music up high. And it's a little metal ring around another little piece of metal. Okay. Now, what had happened was, after I did this for so long, the piece of metal got so hot that it merged with the other piece of metal. It was no longer two pieces of metal. It was one. And of course, when does this wonderful object decide to go out? As I sit my elder priest in my car. Now, he asked me, come on, Sock, take me down to the studio. We got to drop this thing out. Well, let's ride in your car. No, we're going to ride in your car. All right. Because I've gotten accustomed to my little problem. Okay. So I'm driving with my little problem. And we get there and we drop off the stuff to the studio. Fine. Then we get ready to come home. And my little problem turns into a humongous problem. And the wheels start going crazy. So we're on the expressway. And it looked like a broken down horse with 3 legs coming down the road. Oh my God. I am losing it. Because I have my elder priest sitting beside me. And my car is acting like a broken down wheelbarrow. I mean, it's humping. It looked like it's about to throw this old man out of this chair. Okay? I am so embarrassed. Okay? But I just kept on going with that little problem. Okay? And he just sitting there and I'm spazzing out. So I have 2 spaz out episodes here. So I'm spazzing out because of the issue with the car. And then I'm spazzing out, of course, that he's in here with me, that I'm about to have a breakdown, and I'm on 285, and so I'm losing it, and he's like, hey, man, calm down. And I'm like, man, don't you feel it? It's, man, if Yahweh wanted us to be on the side of the road, we'll be on the side of the road. Now calm down. So now I feel stupid, okay? So now you got problem on top of problem mixed in with a little stupid, okay? So then we get to the place. There's a brother that works on calls at the congregation at that time, and he gets to working on my car. We was at about 3-4 o'clock in the morning for him to try to bang this piece of, and all he can do, it was just straight beating this piece of metal that had gotten so hot that it had forged itself onto a part that it wasn't supposed to be on. And I mean, what should have been, and this man thought he was volunteering for a small job. I help you, Sock always working at the church. He always doing something. Poor fella. Poor fella. He thought he was going to be doing a small good work. His good work turned tremendous because I kept going on with that problem that I knew I had, and it made a bigger problem for this man. And I'm sitting there feeling horrible because he just up under my car. Bang, 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 bang. And I mean, this is going on and on and on. That's all my problem. It should have been just as simple for him to take off a couple of parts, pull that little wheel bearing off, put that wheel bearing back in, tap it with a hammer a couple times, boom, I'm back on the road. Had I not gone with that problem for so long. Did you finish that, brother?
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 6. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, it is not lawful for it to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in.
So at this point, it's not suitable for an offering because of how it was gotten. Go ahead.
Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Adonai appointed me.
All right, that is all that we're going to do for tonight. Enjoy your new moon. Shalom.
Shalom.